Now on Saluki SportsView. Saluki baseball may be down some heavy hitters from last year, but they're gearing up for a comeback. We revisit two freshmen on the women's basketball team who are raising the bar among their teammates.
I am a great two-stepper.
And we talk injuries, postseason play, and some fire dance moves with head coach Barry Hinson. Live from Southern Illinois University, this is Saluki SportsView. Hello and good evening. She's Carrie Cicados, I'm Jeremy Sneed, and what a time of the year to be a sports fan. Baseball, softball, golf, everything you could want.
You can't forget about basketball too, Jeremy.
Of course.
The Saluki men's basketball team saved their best basketball for the final stretch of the season. Taking a 4-game win streak into the month of February, the Dogs welcome Valpo to SIU Arena. The Crusaders stifled SIU in the first half, holding Southern to only 25 points. It was a nail-biter throughout the second half, but it was Armand Fletcher's go-ahead three-pointer down the stretch that sealed the deal for SIU. Final score 65-59. After that game, head coach Barry Hinson made sure to thank the fans.
I wanted to thank our student body, and I want them to know how heartfelt, sincere we appreciated what we did, because we do not win today. We do not win if it weren't for our crowd today.
That win marked the 300th career win for Hinson. The Dogs would follow up that performance with a loss at Illinois State before returning home to face Missouri State. It was another back-and-forth game for Southern, with this one needing overtime. Sean Lloyd came alive for the Dogs with 20 second-half points on his way to a career-high 21 points. With time winding down, Aaron Cook was fouled and converted both free throws to win the game for SIU 81-80. Lloyd spoke on his career night.
I wasn't aggressive enough. I don't think I was playing my hardest in the first half. And Coach Bean pulled me to the side and told me to turn up a little bit. Tonight just showed that I got real comfortable with it, and I think moving forward I'll get more comfortable.
Last night was a big opportunity for the Dogs to contend for a share of the conference title as first place Loyola University came to town. It was a senior night for SIU as Tyler Smith-Peters, Jonathan Wiley, and John Gardner were honored before the game. The Dogs struggled out the gate, trailing 12-2 early on. It wouldn't get any easier from there as Loyola's defense smothered SIU all night, and the offense was just as strong. Loyola wins 75-56. After the game, Coach Hinson made some strong words about his team's performance.
Coachable tonight. They would not listen to me. They would not listen to the assistants. They would not listen to me. At the 8-minute mark, I turned and told my staff, we're done. They won't listen. And we were more into ourselves than we were. And we've overcome this before, but tonight was disappointing in that regards.
With the win, the Loyola Ramblers clinched their first conference championship since 1987 when they were members of the Horizon League. Southern Illinois is currently in second with an 11-6 conference record. Illinois State and Drake are in a two-way tie for third place with a 10-7 conference record, and Bradley is currently in fifth place with a 9-8 conference record after their big win last night against Missouri State. The Salukis can finish as high as second or as low as fourth.
With the end of the regular season quickly approaching, the Salukis have one more game before the conference tournament as they head to Evansville on Saturday. Tip-off is 1 o'clock and can be streamed on ESPN3. After that, it is the conference tournament in St. Louis from March 1st through the 4th. Ahead of conference play, SportsView reporter Ian Mahone sat down with Coach Hinson to reflect on the season.
Mr. Hinson, this very simple. Last year, you guys barely made it to 500, and this year, you guys are in the top 3 in the conference. What has changed so far?
Well, I think it always goes back to your players, Eon. I mean, we've got, I don't want to say quite veteran players, but we certainly have seniors that have brought the maturation of the program that we wanted to get it back to, but we're playing with an enormous amount of juniors, and we don't have but one freshman on the team, and he's a redshirt freshman. So isn't it amazing that when you're more mature, the better things happen?
You guys went through a lot of this season with injuries like Ray Wimley. Can you get more in depth at how that affected your team?
Well, I think it had a huge effect on us, and I thought it was a real negative at the first, and then it ended up becoming a positive at the end. But, you know, Eon, we went through a point within a 48-hour period, we lost 3 of our top 8 guys for the year. And that was a really dramatic moment for us. And I can remember it just like it was yesterday. It was the morning of the Drake game that we're getting ready to play, and we have to make an announcement that we're going to lose these guys. And you would have thought that someone had passed on when we had to make the announcement in the locker room. And it really took us a while to get over that. But once we got through that part of adversity, and once we figured out what our roles were, including the coaching staff and the players all in encumbrance, then you found out, okay, now we're building a team. And we're still just playing 7 guys. Every once in a while we may play 8 or 9, but it has become a close-knit family just because of what's happened to us. And these young men have, quite frankly, have accepted their roles and have bonded, and we got a pretty good team.
So I sense it's a family atmosphere within the locker room. Does it translate to a good atmosphere or a good chemistry, I might say, on the practice squad?
Well, I think it's a somewhat of a loaded question, but yes, it's all in a correlation. It doesn't matter in your job in the news industry that if the people surrounding you are part of your family, the telecast, the interviews, the broadcast, they're all going to be so much better. And consequently, that goes the same with athletics. It doesn't just limited to basketball. It could be at any sport. But we consistently talk about, you know, when you don't care who gets the credit, it's amazing all the things that you can accomplish as a unit. And we have that group now. There's no one out there on our team that wants to go get. They all want to score, don't get me wrong. We all want to score in life. But there's nobody out there saying, I have to get this many points. And we're just becoming an unselfish unit. It's really fun to be around.
What do you look forward to now as you guys have 2 more games left? What do you look forward from this point on?
Well, the thing that we look for is let's go win a championship. I mean, we control our own destiny. And the only thing that you can control are the controllables. And we talk to our players all year long about only control what you can. So let's go do our best. And then let's try to finish the season. And the greatest thing about March is everybody has a chance. There's 351 Division I programs, and everybody's got a chance to go to the dance. And that's what you play the sport for.
Now, what's your best dance, Mr. Henson?
I am a great two-stepper.
So you know a little bit of R. Kelly or anything like that, two-step?
I don't know a lot of R. Kelly, but I'm an old school guy now. If you want to go old school, let's go back to Busta. Let's go back to Run DMC. I'm going to go old school on you.
Okay.
I can't go, if you're going to go Drake, it's got to be around a bunch of women. But no, if you're going to go now, let's go old school. And I don't, if we're just going to get right down to it, Marvin Gaye and Earth, Wind and Fire.
Oh, well, I hope you have all the elements in the game for the upcoming NBC conference.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Ian. Appreciate it.
Can't imagine Barry listening to Drake. I want to know what his favorite songs are.
I love to see that two-step. We got to get that too.
Absolutely.
And coming up on Saluki SportsView, Tommy Bell joins us for a live interview.
And later we explore a unique martial art available at SIU. Stay with us.
Welcome back to Saluki SportsView. Joining me in studio is Southern Illinois Athletic Director Tommy Bell. Mr. Bell, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure being here.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is a great time for sports in general. Baseball, golf, softball, all in action at the same time. But
everybody's going.
Exactly. But let's start with basketball. How do you think the men's and women's teams are going to do in their Valley tournaments?
Well, we're real excited. We've got a game left with Evansville, and that's going to have a lot to do with seeding. And so right now, got the scenarios from the Missouri Valley today that if you win, if you lose, who wins, who does this. Seeding's very important on how you get your initial matchups, on how you play. And so I think our men, everybody's kind of focused on them because their tournament is so close by. Excited about their opportunity. The matchup's going to be key. Would like to find ourselves to win that first one, get to the semifinals, and then work our way to the finals and put us in a position to play for the championship.
Absolutely. Now,
Yeah.
if no NCAA berth, could we see these teams in other tournaments?
We could. We have some opportunities. The NIT is an NCAA event, and they have sent their information to us. We will need to have some key wins, some very strong wins going on for the rest of the season into the tournament, because we have to move our RPI. We're at 79. We probably need to be 75 or below that number, and so that's a key point for us.
Gotcha. Now, it was said fairly recently that SIU will be seeing a women's soccer team coming into play. How do you think how did that get all started?
Well, it got started, as you know, with the budgetary restrictions that the university was going through. Athletics was not immune to that situation. So we had to make a very tough decision to discontinue men and women's tennis. And in that, some people filed a complaint with the Office of Civil Rights, which happens to lots of institutions. And when that complaint came, we went through some mitigation and looking at our numbers and our participatory numbers between men and women, and we were a little off. And we needed to add a program. We just couldn't bring back a women's tennis team and meet those requirements. So we mitigated. We wanted to be involved in something new and exciting that would bring a lot of women to our institution, because we have great academic offerings. And so Chancellor Montemagno was the driving force in that and in that decision. And we're very excited about it. Now, I've been an athletic director at 2 previous Division I institutions, and I had the pleasure of having men and women's soccer, so had a lot of background. We lined up with the Missouri Valley Conference really well with that, and so we'll be the 9th member in 2020 kicking in the Missouri Valley Conference of women's soccer.
Well, when do you think we can start seeing that anytime soon?
Well, we're going to have it. We're in the midst of preparing to hire a coach in the next month. And then we'll have a coach here next fall who will be recruiting. We also have a number of women already on this campus that are on the club team that want to have a tryout and will probably participate and play. Our first kick will be in the fall of 19, and we will play what they call an independent Division I schedule. And then in 2020, we'll play a full Division I schedule, including the Missouri Valley Conference schedule.
Perfect. Well, Mr. Bell, it was a pleasure having you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me
Jeremy,
today.
back to you.
With spring around the corner, the Saluki baseball team has already began their season. After losing a handful of players, the Dogs were eager to get back on the field and play some ball.
It's a great feeling.
It feels like the longest time, so you get kind of antsy.
We're excited. We're ready to go.
Because you're like, oh gosh, the season's here. I've been working for like 9 months. Like, here we go. So, but we're feeling good. We're feeling good.
With Chad Whitmer and Joey Marciano leaving for the MLB, it'll be senior Michael Baird expected to carry the load for the pitching staff.
Kind of just say with me left, you definitely feel like a leader. Holding myself to a higher standard, than the years past, which I don't think is possible to do, because I'm so hard on myself. It's not even funny. But I just gonna try and come to my senior year, relax, have some fun. Just give my best for the Dogs and, try and do the best I can leading and playing.
The Salukis are also returning without Greg Lambert and Nick Hutchins, as they also got drafted in last season's MLB draft. So senior second baseman Connor Kopak will also be expected to lead the offense.
I feel a little bit of leadership, but I'm not one to get on people's butts and anything. I'm more of a hard worker, try to show it out on the field. I don't really talk that much. I'm more of a shy guy, so kind of more show it on the field.
The Dogs are coming off of a disappointing 27-30 season after being picked to finish second last year. They were picked to finish 4th in the NBC preseason poll for this season.
I feel like we're right where we should be, but I feel like we'll surprise a few people this year.
We have goals. We want to win the league. We want to get in the NCAA tournament. We want to win our Valley tournament. But we've really focused on one team at a time.
Yeah, we're playing with a chip on our shoulder, and we're gonna give us some wins this year, and come out on top.
In their opening weekend, SIU struggled as they got swept by Jacksonville State, being outscored 23-15 in the process. They were able to bounce back on Tuesday, picking up win number 1 at Belmont. Next up is a weekend series on the road against North Florida. Coming up, we revisit with 2 of the fabulous freshmen on the Saluki women's basketball team. This is Saluki Sports View on WSIU. The Saluki women's basketball team has had an up-and-down campaign all season, including a 3-game losing streak to start February. Then the Bradley Braves came to Carbondale for a Sunday showdown. SIU jumped out to a 17-7 lead in the first quarter, and that domination continued into the second half. Southern never trailed in this ballgame. Mackenzie Sylvie led the way with a team-high 15 points, while Kylie Gabelhausen pitched in with 13 of her own. Final score, 62-53.
The Dogs followed up that win with an 88-86 win against the Valpo Crusaders before hitting the road to face the 5-win Loyola Ramblers. SIU struggled in this one, shooting only 37% from the field and going 6 for 23 in the second half. Despite that, Southern kept it close throughout but failed to lead or even tie the game at any point. The Ramblers could win 62-53. The Salukis are currently 4th in the conference with a 9-6 conference record. The women's basketball team currently sits at 14-12 with the season winding down.
And the freshmen have helped carry the load for the Salukis this season, especially Abby Brockmeyer and Mackenzie Sylvie. SportsView reporter Peter Babrinskoy has the story.
Unlike in today's one-and-done era in men's college basketball, there usually isn't a heavy reliance on freshmen when it comes to women's college basketball. However, here Southern Illinois is with 2 freshmen, Abby Brockmeyer and Mackenzie Sylvie, who the team has relied greatly on this season.
I just came in thinking I'd do whatever I can. I never thought I would start or anything like that, so being able to play as much as I do is really a blessing to me.
Despite not seeing this big of a role coming, Mackenzie Sylvie has said she relies on senior and team captain Kylie Gabelhausen on what it takes to be a leader, despite being one of the youngest players on the team.
I think definitely like my high school and AAU coaches had prepared me for it, but I learned a lot from Kylie. Kylie's more of like a lead by an example, but I try to take after her. But I think I was ready for it, like coming into high school, because that was like one of my roles on the team last year.
Despite being a quieter and shy person at heart, Brockmeyer has used her freshman season as a learning tool for how to grow as a leader.
It's been a learning experience, I would say. You know, it's definitely a different kind of game, you know, college versus high school. I've learned that I had to speak up more, and I'm a shy person, so yeah, I've learned that I had to speak up, you know, communicate on the court and help my teammates as much as I can.
Whether they are ready or not, Coach Stein and the SIU women's basketball team are going to need a lot from the 2 freshmen if they're going to make a big run in the Missouri Valley Conference Tournament. From Saluki SportsView, I'm Peter Babrinskoy.
This season, 4 players are averaging double-digit scoring, including Brockmeyer and Sylvie. Sylvie averages just under 11 a game, while Brockmeyer averages just a little over 11 a game. She leads the team, averaging 7 rebounds a game.
Taking a look at the remaining schedule for the Saluki women, they will head to Missouri State tomorrow night with 7 p.m. tip-off on ESPN3. Then the Dogs will begin the month of March at home versus Indiana State at 6 p.m. 2 days later, the Salukis will end the regular season with a home game against Evansville, and then it's the Missouri Valley Conference Tournament on March 8th.
Still to come on last year for the first time in 16 years. Find out how they're preparing for this season. Stay tuned.
For the first time since 1991, Carrie, Saluki softball can call themselves conference champions.
And with a young, talented, and determined team, the Dogs expect themselves to compete for that same title once again. SportsView reporter Curtis Weidman has more.
People tend to think success comes easy, not knowing it's hard work to be a champion. It takes determination and discipline, which the Saluki softball team displays in their preseason.
All right, let's go. Get a hop.
With expectations at an all-time high for the reigning conference champions, head coach Carrie Baylock says that they come into every year with one goal.
I think we go into every year thinking we want to win the conference championship, and that's no different this year.
When talking to some of the players, Brianna Jones tells us how important team chemistry is.
I think we all, bond really well, and I think Carrie and them make it that way because they recruit the people that are going to get along.
Other players like Maddie Vermejan strives to achieve more this year versus last year.
I definitely want to be conference champs again, but actually win games in the NCAA tournament.
When asking how to stay on top of their game, Coach Baylock replied, working to be the best, we work on that every day.
So we're trying to really work on us, being the best version of us, and that's what we work on every day.
Coach believes that to get better as a team, there's only one method that works better than the rest.
I think the only way you get better is to play ball games.
I asked Coach what it felt like to win a conference title. She hopes to get back there very soon.
One of the best moments of my 28 years. I hope to do it again.
For SportsView, I'm Curtis Weidman.
So far, the Dogs are 4-4 with notable wins against Georgetown and Abilene Christian.
Next up for SIU is the 4 Points Invitational at Florida Gulf Coast University this weekend. And after the break, find out what Bruce Lee and Southern Illinois have in common. You're watching Saluki SportsView on WSIU.
There's a martial art being taught right here at SIU that has been around for centuries.
Yep, and it's called Thai boxing. SportsView reporter Phoenix Hoon Simmons has the story.
Thai boxing, a form of martial arts, is being taught at our very own Student Rec Center. This class convenes on Mondays and Wednesdays from 6:30 to 8 p.m. Jim Krause, the instructor of the class, has impressive credentials.
I've been doing Thai boxing about 30 years. I actually started with a friend named Scott Dobbs 30 years ago, who trained under Dan Inosanto, who was Bruce Lee's good friend. And we did Thai boxing under them.
The class, as Krause states, is designed for anybody. Krause says the class doesn't focus on just one thing.
What would you say it focuses more on? Would it be more like cardio? Would it be more core?
Very much cardio, and actually your core gets a lot of work because the techniques of Thai boxing, there's a lot of twisting and there's a lot of rotation in those techniques. So you get very much a core workout. So speed, power, endurance are also.
Carrie, it's been a pleasure. Thank you all for joining us tonight. I'm Jeremy Sneed.
And I'm Carrie Cicados. For all the students who work here on Saluki SportsView, have a great night.